presents live coverage of the 1982 NCAA Championships. College basketball's march to New Orleans. Our CBS Tripleheader begins with action in the East Regional from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Silver Dome Charlotte Coliseum. It's the Dukes of James Madison from Virginia and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Coach Lou Campanelli, the man behind James Madison's rise toward prominence, will need a strong performance from Dan Ruland, the Dukes' powerfully built center. Against Ohio State, Ruland's muscle inside was the key to a comeback victory in the first round. Today, the Dukes come face-to-face with Dean Smith, North Carolina Tar Heels, this season's #1 ranked college power. The ACC champs are led by James Worthy, a 6'9" power forward who ranks up ahead of his class at that position, a true first-team All-American. Joining Worthy inside is willowy Sam Perkins, a quick and explosive pivot man. Each is outstanding. Together, Worthy and Perkins are an awesome team. And if opponents sag against them, dynamic freshman Michael Jordan, a deadly shooter, a slashing penetrator, can be devastating. It's a unique match, and it begins our CBS Tripleheader. Stay tuned. Coming right up from Charlotte, #1 ranked North Carolina versus Cinderella James Madison in NCAA action.
CBS Sports presents NCAA Basketball. Today's second-round tournament game is sponsored.
Live coverage from the sold-out Charlotte Coliseum. It's North Carolina versus James Madison. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Thacker with Bill Foster, former president of the Coaches Association, Coach of the Year, and now University of South Carolina. Bill, I think we can safely say it has to be the most fascinating matchup of the entire tournament.
Well, it certainly is, and a couple of key words will be tempo and I think patience by the James Madison team. And of course, the Tar Heels with the great team, their #1 ranking, will probably be trying to force the issue a lot and force the tempo and speed things up.
Bill, as a coach, how do you feel about that twosome inside Worthy and Perkins?
Well, I'll tell you, they have to be reckoned with very seriously, and I'm sure that the James Madison team will pack their defenses in there and around and keep them from getting the ball as much as possible. They'll have to.
All right, James Madison, as you know, played University of Virginia 2 very close games this year. They feel in their hearts they can play with the best in the country, and that's what they've got. An exciting challenge here against #1 ranked North Carolina. We'll have the starting lineups coming next in our NCAA game. Here are the starting lineups for today's game. First for James Madison University at forward, a 6'6" freshman, number 22, Darrell Jackson. Starting for North Carolina at forward, 6'9" junior, number 52, James Worthy. For James Madison at forward, 6'7" senior, number 30, Linton Towns. For North Carolina at forward, 6'8" sophomore, number 44, Matt Gordy. Starting for James Madison at center, 6'8" junior, number 40, Dan Ruland. For North Carolina at center, 6'9" sophomore, Sam Perkins, number 41. Starting for James Madison at guard, 6'2" junior, number 12, Charles Fisher. Starting for North Carolina at guard, 6'3" senior, number 21, Jimmy Black. For James Madison at guard, 6'5", junior, number 14, David DuPont. Starting for North Carolina at guard, 6'5", freshman, number 23, Michael Jordan. James Madison is coached by Lou Campanelli. as they will go against North Carolina. Jerry Yarbrough, the Sun Belt, Richard White of the Big Ten, Paul Holly of the Southwest Conference, the officials. It'll be a battle for a berth in the East region next week. Dean Smith, 21 years head coach at North Carolina, a record almost unparalleled in the annals of coaching. And Lou Campanelli, 43-year-old graduate from Montclair State, has built the entire program from the start at James Madison from Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. There's a look at this overflow crowd, little than 11,000. Starting lineup for James Madison, Ruland the key man, Linton Towns, exceptional shooter from the outside, and Charles Fisher, who may have to battle the press from this team that'll be led by Jimmy Black. The inside, great two of Worthy and Perkins. James Madison in the purple or dark, North Carolina, the higher-seeded team, seeded number 1, the 48 in the white. Offensive tip, Michael Jordan will look for North Carolina to attack immediately here. James Madison 2-3 zone. Black inside Worthy, and Worthy is open.
What a nice turnaround jump shot there by James Worthy. A good pass inside. Carolina showing good patience right from the start.
Not going all-out pressure. There's the jump switch, for which Dean Smith's become very famous in his man-for-man pressing defense.
It looks a little bit like the run and jump, and it's not quite a double team, but you'll see some double teams out of it.
Almost to the 5-second count. Baseline Towns. Man for man. Towns being guarded by Perkins. This is Jackson. Covered up the corner. North Carolina will overplay a lot with a pressure man defense. Try to deny the ball, just as they were doing there. 2-0 North Carolina lead with 1 minute gone.
And that one pass that went inside, they did a good squeeze on them. Within the double team. Here's Towns.
Here's Towns. Velvet touch by Linton Towns. They are tied at 2. Just over a minute into the first half. Towns, who led the scoring this past 2 years for James Madison University, ECAC South Player of the Year. Play halted for a moment because in celebration, the James Madison fans sent a shower of paper on the court.
I'd like to see most teams now do away with that practice. I think we've seen enough of it this past 2 years.
James Madison switches to a man-for-man defense. Now look out for Perkins and Worthy. There's a hold inside by Ruland. James Madison cannot afford for Ruland, the ponderous center, to get in trouble.
No, and Jimmy Black, he looks in there all the time. He's a great passer from outside, and he's an unselfish player. Looks to pass more than he looks to shoot.
Lou Campanelli questioning the call on Dan Ruland, who certainly has to be a key man because of North Carolina's inside power. They're tied at 2. They look for the Dukes now to go to a zone here on the inbound pass. A lob inside to Perkins for the hook. 3 Dukes come down with the ball. It'll be James Madison ball. They have a chance to take the lead for the first time.
Good look inside.
They'll settle out of screens with a very patient team, James Madison. They play at a deliberate pace, running their passing patterns.
You can see they're trying to force baseline a little bit. It got inside.
DuPont rolling in, short hook, blocked out of bounds. Touch pass by James Madison. North Carolina has a very tough defense inside.
And Jim, you'll watch, it looks like Carolina is trying to force James Madison a little bit baseline and maybe keep them from reversing the basketball, which is part of their offense, that patient offense that they run.
Well, there's how it looks now from behind the zone for the James Madison players. North Carolina, it's a 2-1-2 zone, the third defense used in 3 possessions for Lou Campanelli. Now they get it to Doherty for the baseline. Rebound, Michael Jordan over the top. Personal foul on number 23, Michael Jordan. An outstanding rookie for North Carolina. 2-2 tie after a little over 2 minutes of the first half.
Well, Michael was trying to rebound on that weak side and get caught for the foul.
Now Dean Smith has ordered a little more pressing defense. Here's a man-for-man press up in backcourt, but they're not really going all at it yet.
This is sort of a token press, trying to distort the patterns of James Madison, speed them up a little bit.
That was a good job, but Ruland could not come up with a low pass. They made a great penetration of the press. Towns again, a little strong. Rebound is by Towns, funneled away. Little jittery, perhaps, James Madison is. The foul, though, is on Doherty of North Carolina.
Here in the early going, and I'm sure both teams would like to stay out of this for a while, but it started a little bit early.
This is the 9th Atlantic Coast Conference Championship team for Dean Smith. His only head coaching job has been at Chapel Hill, where he was assistant under Frank McGuire before that.
Little double team on the out of bounds, and now back to, it looks like the straight 2-3 zone.
2-3 zone.
Or 1-3-1. A little bit of 1-3-1 at this point.
They have Worthy running the baseline as a 1-3-1.
Of course, they use that combination defense, too, which is confusing.
There goes Fisher from the outside. He's got it.
What do they say? Body by Fisher. He's had all sorts of accidents, and he comes to play all the time.
4-2. James Madison goes to the lead for the first time. What a thrilling moment for these fans who have really come down from Virginia to support their team. 4-2 James. A steal by Fisher. And here comes Jordan. Fisher drives.
Well, a big play there. They got aggressive back here in that defense, and that looked awfully good.
4-point lead by the underdog Dukes over North Carolina, #1 ranked team in the country.
A little change of defense now by the James Madison team. They're man-to-man. Covered.
Near steal by Fisher. Doherty will recover the backcourt for North Carolina. 6-2 lead for the Dukes from the ECAC South. They're the champs.
Worthy's holding his head. He got hurt inside there. Got hit in the head.
Backdoor picked off. Interception by Charles Fisher. And Fisher's been the early hero here for James Madison.
Well, their defense change right there seemed to help them. They went to man-to-man.
Fisher walks. He got caught up inside, took steps on the penetration. He's wearing a brace, as you see, on his left arm. He has a chipped wrist, which he received in the game against Navy. It was about the 6th of 6 major injuries that Fisher suffered this year. We'll try to go over them later.
You need about 5 minutes to do that. He's certainly had a bundle of them, and he keeps coming back and ready to play.
6-2. He's been the outpatient of the year.
That's right. This looks like a 1-3-1 defense now, Jim.
Perkins with a hook inside. Rebound is almost forced on the way by Perkins, who scores, and he's fouled on the play.
Well, initially a nice look by Doherty. Matt Doherty on the pass inside to Perkins. A little turnaround hook. The inside play here, they've got great second effort, and it resulted in a 3-point possibility here.
That'll be the second foul on Dan Ruland if he's the one guilty.
Well, he's an important player. They've got to keep in there as much as possible.
Perkins trying for the 3-point conversion. Ruland snaps off the rebound. His team is up by 2 at 6-4. Jimmy Braddock, number 24, is reported to the North Carolina lineup, replacing Jimmy Black. Nope, he's replacing Michael Jordan. Black's still in there. 2 little guards in now for Dean Smith Tar Heels. They're looking for the back door against the press. There goes Towns with a drive hitting.
Nice drive by Towns coming in from the right, and he's getting off to a much better start tonight than he did against Ohio State on Thursday night.
Bill, he has close to 1,400 points in his career. There's a push on Matt Doherty. Second foul on Doherty of North Carolina.
Well, Dan Ruland's coming out here for a breather. He has 2 fouls on him, and I'm sure they don't want to have him catch that third one in a hurry.
15 minutes to go. 15 minutes, 6 seconds in the first half. Ruland now with a second personal foul that was officially on him. 8-4. Madison leading by 4 points. Another substitution is checked in for James Madison. Number 32 is Keith Bradley, a 6'7" sophomore who had an outstanding performance against Ohio State in first-round play.
Man-to-man pressure here by Carolina.
Here's
Jordan
steal.
looking to steal.
Yep, here's steal. Jordan checked back in on the last foul. Backdoor. Fisher did not move.
Very good overplay by the rest of the Carolina team, and great support defense there.
All right, DuPont pulled the string, but didn't get through. But nevertheless, in the first 5 minutes, Madison has jumped to the lead by 4. Just over 5 minutes gone by. James Madison, only 6 years in Division I of the NCAA with the best record in its history. 24 victories. North Carolina, even with its great history under Dean Smith, that is still the best mark he's ever had. Season 27-2.
Well, I'll tell you, they've had a super season, and you know, another thing that we sometimes don't think about is they played a great preseason schedule. You know, when they play the teams the likes of Kentucky, they played Tulsa, they played Kansas, and the list just keeps going. They've played really a rough schedule.
And by preseason, I know, Bill, you're referring to pre-ACC season.
Well, that's what I mean, the pre-league season.
8-4, James Madison has the lead. North Carolina has come back with Jimmy Black and Michael Jordan, the guards. A little zone trapping press now by James Madison is about the 4th defensive strategy they've used thus far. Worthy baseline, and Jimmy Black steps for the outside shot.
Now that's important to get that outside shooting going, because James Madison has made 4 of their first 6 shots this afternoon, and with that kind of shooting, why they're getting off to the start that they wanted to get off to.
Towns is open, drive again, rebound by Worthy, and he's fouled by Towns. Back goes Linton Towns of James Madison. Kind of stills the Duke fans for the moment, but they have plenty to cheer about so far. That's his first personal foul. North Carolina now will try to tie up the score. They're trailing by 2. They're 3-0 on this court this year, Bill. They won 2 in the North-South doubleheaders, and they defeated Kansas, as you mentioned earlier, here.
Right. Now here's the 1-3-1 zone by James Madison.
Trying to penetrate inside, and then either Perkins or Worthy dish out to the open man.
Generally, the 1-3-1 is strong inside, prevents the ball from coming in. Now, they let the ball into Worthy that time, but they really clamp around him and double on him.
They have Fisher chasing the baseline here if they go back to the 1-3-1. Now they're in a straight 2-3. Lob to Worthy, taken away by Fisher. Superb defensive play by number 12, Charles Fisher.
That was exciting, because that looked like a sure 2. Great defense there.
Campanelli's team in the lead. 8-6 in the first 7 minutes. Inside pass knocked down, and out of this, it's going to be James Madison ball. Up is DuPont hitting.
Good bucket by DuPont. A good player who takes his spots, picks his spots for his shooting, and makes that 16-foot open jumper.
Back to a 4-point lead go the Dukes from Harrisonburg, Virginia.
You notice they're trying to cut off that inside as much as possible.
Out to Worthy inside, and he's bumped. The foul will be on Jackson.
Good reversal of the basketball by Carolina to try and open up the inside zone. When you have to defend against Worthy and Perkins in there, that's more than a double effort.
Well, they're more than just big, Bill. As you know, they're extremely quick, talented, and each has a variety of moves. 4-point lead by the underdog Dukes. He just notified Doherty that's a spot pass in, so he can outroam the baseline for the throw-in. Still in the zone. Lob base weak side to Jordan.
Nice screen set over there, and Jordan had the 18-foot jumper. We're talking about defense. Fisher has 3 steals already, so a key part of that James Madison defense.
Derek Steele driving. Hand on the boards by Worthy. Super block. Here comes North Carolina to cut it to 2 if they can. Black penetrating. Perkins open. Ball is not falling for North Carolina. Broken up by Black. Still James Madison ball. The precocious Dukes are making their challenge here to North Carolina, and there was a foul on that play away from the ball, called on James Worthy.
One thing about Carolina, we've only shot 3 for 8, but they've just missed, Jim. They've had some shots that have just gone around, and they are getting good shots.
Jimmy Braddock on your right. The man on the left was Buzz Peterson. Here's Braddock. He's a veteran backup guard, a junior from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Peterson is a freshman from Asheville, North Carolina. Immediate foul on Braddock. That's 5 team fouls on North Carolina. It's 10-6, a 4-point lead by James Madison. Derek Steele, number 25, is now playing at guard. Built like a football player, that's exactly what he was when he signed a grant name to James Madison, but he was soon switched to basketball. Wide open Ruland.
Nice opening there. Sort of double teaming Steele out front, and James Madison got behind the defense on that one.
Well, it's early on, but if upset is brewing in this one, it would be one of the biggest in history. Worthy inside foul. Personal foul will be on David DuPont.
Excellent help side defense, though. Jim, they're getting a nice rotation. James Madison in any of those defenses that they're playing, whether it's man-to-man, the 1-3-1, or the 2-3, and coming off to help inside with not just 1, but 2 people.
James Worthy, who was a home state product for Dean Smith from Gastonia, North Carolina, just about 20 miles from where this game's being played. He'll get 2. He's down to 5. Smith has had 12 consecutive seasons of at least 20 victories.
Well, I'll tell you, these baskets are nice, too. You hit the front of the rim, and the players love these. You know, they get a good tendency to go in and roll right over the top and go in, particularly when you have a rotation on the basketball, like James Worthy has on those free throws.
Sean Press, Derek Steele, extremely quick. Linton Towns cut off by Worthy. It's a patient team that plays with great discipline, Bill. They very seldom take a bad percentage shot.
No, and they played this way all year. They played a lot of close games, and it's going to help them in a game like this. This is nothing new to the James Madison team.
Well, the coach Campanelli's worst year was he had 16 victories, and that was his very first one in Division I. 12-8 penetrating goes Bradley, and he's fouled as he goes by.
Well, Carolina has Worthy and Perkins inside, both shot blockers, both players that will distract that shot a little bit coming in and distract your concentration on the shot.
That's the first foul on Buzz Peterson, who goes straight to the North Carolina bench, along with Jimmy Braddock. And Jimmy Black and Michael Jordan returning backcourt for North Carolina.
Well, Carolina's back to the starters.
Keith Bradley had an exceptional game, I thought, Bill, against Ohio State off the bench. One of their keys.
Yes, very fine performance.
On the year as a free thrower, Bradley's just under 65%, which is kind of the average or a little below average mark.
Now, he helps out with Ruland underneath those boards, too, and this is, of course, as we mentioned, a key part of this ball game.
Leading us back to 5. James Madison's Dukes. They led the regular season in the ECAC South, upset in the finals of the tournament, but they're here as an at-large entry. 13-8. Trapping zone now. Perkins cannot hold a high pass. Another turnover by North Carolina.
This trap had a little bit more definite hard double teaming and trapping, and they're getting Carolina to turn the basketball over.
5 times, Bill, which is exactly the opposite the experts might have figured with North Carolina's great pressing defenses.
Well, this is really interesting now.
Steal by Worthy. Look out for the dunk.
James got a good look at the basket from pretty high up, about the ceiling, I believe.
Well, this sometimes can turn a team on, Bill. You can hear the crowd really picking it up now. Worthy slam dunk.
They're pumped up now, and now if James Madison's use that patience that they've been exhibiting, comes in handy.
Well, here's more pressure now added to James Madison, but they have the lead, 13-10, and they're forcing the offense here, attacking North Carolina. Great patterns.
Good patience.
Man-to-man defense. They want to get a screen for Linton Towns. Perkins has him covered. Worthy's on Ruland. Perkins is on Towns. That's the inside matchup in the man-to-man. This is great ball handling against this pressure, Bill.
Well, and good patience here. It's going to be interesting to see how it ends up now, whether it's going to be a good shot or not. Carolina protects underneath very well with Perkins and Worthy.
We're now midway in the first half. James Madison has the lead. They trail just briefly. Near steal by Black. 13-10. Winner of this game will play either Alabama or St. John's. A second-round game to be played tomorrow. Fisher.
I'll tell you, with all that tape on him, it's a wonder he can shoot that well.
15-10, James Madison.
Fisher 3 for 3 this afternoon.
That's a man-for-man defense again for the Dukes. Like North Carolina, they're continually switching the defensive pattern. Doherty penetrating, banking, missing, rebound. That's Bradley for James Madison. Boy, the Dukes are showing great poise. They may respect North Carolina, but they certainly do not fear them.
No, and they made a lot of passes the last time and ended up with that nice little 15, 16-footer. So this is their plan, and it's been their style. They like to reverse the basketball.
Backdoor knocked down by Worthy. Scramble, jump ball. That'll be James Madison's ball. The opening tip was controlled by North Carolina. Dean Smith's team has had its hands full thus far. We got a timeout with 9 minutes to go. And surprise of surprises, it's James Madison up by 5. North Carolina's the overwhelming favorite here, but the leader is James Madison, 15-10. And now let's look at James Worthy.
Well, here we have the situation coming up here with the steal by James Worthy, dribbling the length of the court, the big guy agile, and here's that look. It looks like it's coming from the Goodyear blimp, doesn't it? It's coming from way up in the ceiling.
Well, they came off that great recruiting class of 1979. Some think it's the vintage year. There's the field goal shooting. Look at 64% accuracy by James Madison. North Carolina 40. Bill, his shot selection had anything to do with that?
Well, they got Fisher shooting 3 for 3, and the great patience offensively, a part of their game plan, part of their whole season. It certainly bears out in a game like this. They're used to playing this way and have been doing it all year against all opposition.
Dukes also have out-rebounded North Carolina 6-3. And now Woody Bowler's the lineup. Being pressed and travels for James Madison. Woody Bowler, a sophomore from Salisbury, North Carolina, just off the bench. He was forced there by Michael Jordan, number 23. What a great freshman year he's had. And speaking of the 79 class, this year's freshman crop ranks right up there with it as perhaps at least the second best class, if not the first.
Well, that Carolina defense did what they want to do, is force the action and force the mistakes.
They'll try the weak side pass here against the zone. Michael Jordan loves to penetrate, and he charges. Charging by Jordan. Second personal foul.
Well, David DuPont got pretty good foot position on that and drew that charge, and they get the ball right back. James Madison.
James Madison up 15-10. They have never defeated an Atlantic Coast Conference team. They played Virginia 5 times, losing all 5. Many of them were exciting games. They've never played an ACC team except Virginia. Push on, and a 5-second violation. David DuPont tried for timeout, but it was too late.
Excellent reverse press. You can almost see it coming that they were going to have trouble getting it in. It looked like it was sort of a surprise, and I'm sure that they tried to call that timeout, but too much time had lapsed on that 5-second count.
I'm sure it wasn't a surprise to that man. Lou Campanelli is well aware of North Carolina's defensive prowess.
Well, they do it a lot, and it's a key part of their game.
15-10, Michael Jordan. Here's the ace of Dean Smith's recruiting crop. They lob it inside to Perkins. Jimmy Black out of the corner.
But a very nice rear screen set by Matt Doherty. And Carolina's been doing that with their offense, trying to reverse the ball and get a rear screen and catch somebody open for the sideline jumper.
Still a 3-point lead for James Madison, 15-12 with 8 minutes to go in the first half. Man-for-man pressure defense. Baseline Ruland. Up and over and missing with Worthy for the rebound.
Well, there's that intimidation factor. Worthy's back there in Perkins, and you start to look for him a little bit. It disturbs your concentration some.
2-1-2 zone now by the Dukes. They're continually switching. Perkins on the inside. Great move by Sam Perkins.
Very nice turnaround move. He kept that ball well protected. Very difficult to double team, and it was a quick move, and it's a big 2 points.
Very important possession now for James Madison. Their 6-point lead has melted to just 1 with 7:25 to go in the half. Inside Towns, a little bit too hard. North Carolina can take the lead with a score. And there's Jimmy Black on the quick stop. 3 for 3 for Jimmy Black. The playmaking guard for the Tar Heels, and North Carolina is back in the lead, 16-15.
Jimmy sure pulled up with a lot of confidence on that.
There's an unusual turnover. Fisher threw a wild pass. It could be a timeout time for the Dukes. Yep, that's exactly it. Lou Campanelli wants to settle down his team, and it could be a very timely timeout. They've lost the lead now to number 1 ranked North Carolina. 16-15 Tar Heels. And our live coverage continues from Charlotte, North Carolina. Underdog James Madison getting North Carolina all at once here in the first 12 minutes of the game. And Jim Thacker with Bill Foster. This is the first of an exciting triple header of NCAA action today on CBS. Halftime will be going to Brent Musburger for all updates. James Madison Dukes have not scored a point in more than 4 minutes. They led by 6 points at one stage. But now they have tasted the awesome pressure in the North Carolina defenses.
Well, 3 turnovers in the last 2 minutes, and that's what the Carolina defense is trying to dictate a little bit more of that tempo and more pressure, and it's starting to pay off for them.
Inside Perkins. James Madison does not have the height to prevent that lob inside, apparently. Worthy spinning. And tipped in by Perkins.
Great inside position by Perkins for that tip-in. Great spring.
Bill, there's the 2 of them. And what they can do to you inside.
Well, that's true. You front one of them, and the other one's open inside.
Back comes Fisher for James Madison. 4 for 4. 17-18. The lead by North Carolina's come back to 1. Their 3-point lead a moment ago was the biggest of the game. They have scored 8 consecutive points before that key basket by Fisher for the Dukes. Man-for-man defense by James Madison. Let's see if they go inside for Worthy or Perkins. Perkins in a double team. Being harassed and walks.
Well, a very good double teaming there inside by Fisher. The defense come back and doubled. The offense threw it right back out, and that's unselfish team play. But that James Madison defense caused a turnover.
Well, James Madison bases a lot of his success on its defense. They've held opponents to around 50 points a game, and they rank in the nation's top 10.
Well, this defense now is paying off a little bit. James Madison team is not able to run their things quite as smoothly as they did in the early going.
Jackson goes inside, and he's fouled by Worthy. Worthy protesting that he was pushed off, but it's going to be a personal foul number 2 on the North Carolina All-American.
And this is interesting now. They're attacking the basket with good move, good smart move, and putting the pressure on the defense back there on Worthy.
Worthy had a point.
Yes.
Well, the left arm was used very nicely there by Darrell Jackson, who'll draw 2 free throws. Jackson shoots 57 from the field and 52 from the free throw line in percentage.
Good camera work there. It gives you that second look. Looked a little different the second time, Jim.
Well, it's tough to call, Bill, as you know. Tied up, 18-18. Second time the score has been locked up. We have 5 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the first half. Another zone by James Madison. They want to test North Carolina's outside shooting. That'll be Black, Jordan, or Doherty, who usually will take the perimeter shot. This is Jordan. Right back to Perkins. Sam Perkins on the floor to Doherty. Loud to Worthy. In the pack, he is fouled. That'll be on DuPont. Second foul on David DuPont of James Madison. And the score tied. We'll go to the, not quite the bonus. Only 16 fouls against James Madison. Lou Campanelli, who had a taste last year of the NCAA, his team, remember, upset Georgetown and played Notre Dame a very fine game. They're back now for a return and eagerly have come into this tournament, beating Ohio State, and they have equal North Carolina so far, point for point.
Good patience outside by the 3 perimeter players for Carolina. They probe inside.
Jordan.
Very nice turnaround jumper. Jordan moved along the baseline, and that inside defense gets worried about Perkins and Worthy, and here we find Jordan sneaking under.
He's a very clever player. 20-18, North Carolina leads. Now North Carolina's matched up man for man. Inside matchups are Perkins again on Towns. Right here, follows him out. Underneath, Jackson fires.
Very nice move. They drew the Carolina big men outside that time with their offense. Sort of inverts the defense, and they were able to run their guards and small forward underneath that time.
A smart move by Jackson, who ties the score for the 3rd time. Lob to Worthy on the inside for a left.
It just shows the great hands that James Worthy has, too. A lot of players would get it in there, and with that kind of distraction and a hand back there would fumble it, but not James Worthy.
Lou Campanelli in a tight spot. He really doesn't have a tall man to go to on the bench. Ruland at 6'8", the tallest. And there's a personal foul in the play. That'll be on Jimmy Black. Number 1 on Black. the point guard for North Carolina. Sam Perkins, sort of that ambling fashion of his. He never seems to be excited, Bill.
No, he's such a fine player, and they did get some double teaming action at that time, and they're playing on the high side of players without the basketball and really forcing James Madison team to do some things that they probably don't want to do right now.
This could be the most valuable player for James Madison throughout the year. He's been their top scorer, very unselfish player, a senior from Covington, Virginia. Weighed only about 165 pounds at 6'5" when he came to college. He's filled out a little, Bill.
That was interesting. 24 pounds, they say, he's put on in 4 years. Good food up there.
6 points for Towns. 22-22. It's locked up again the fourth time with 4 minutes to go in the half.
Spreading him out with the trap and then dropping back into a more passive defense. That started out with a half-court trap.
2-3 zone. They're trying to protect Ruland, I believe, Bill. He has 2 fouls on him.
Yes.
Protect him in the zone. Jordan driving, pumps and hits.
Not too many players can make that move and score like that. They've made 7 out of their last 8 shots, North Carolina.
Little double clutch in the air, Bill, which is at least really paralyzes a defensive player. North Carolina continues man for man. Once more they pull Perkins away. Stolen by Black. There's Black on Towns. He fouls him. It'll be 2 shots, I believe. Yep. Intentional foul on Lenton Towns. He probably should have gone for the ball, but it was so obvious he was going to foul. They'll give Jimmy Black 2 shots.
Yeah, he's going to make him produce on that line instead of giving him that unmolested layup. And he can, I guess, can afford a foul.
I think you'll see how obvious it is here. Watch Towns.
Very good steal, though, by Black. And that North Carolina pressure is continuing to exert itself here.
Jimmy Black leads the North Carolina team in steals. He had 52 coming to this game.
Well, that's where Towns may have only given up 1 point instead of 2, Jim.
He still has to make the 1. Not have been a bad move, even though it was Towns' second personal foul. 25-22, North Carolina's equal its biggest lead, which is only 3 points against James Madison.
Here comes the double teaming, the trapping, trying to get that tempo up again.
2-1-2 zone. Now they may switch to 1-3-1. Worthy's dropped to the baseline. 3 minutes to go in the half. 3-point lead only for North Carolina. Number 1 in both major polls. Outside Ruland, the big center from 20 feet away.
A big basket there. He had a lot of confidence on that one, sticking that 20-footer.
There's the exciting story for James Madison fans. They're staying right with the top-ranked team in the nation's powers. 1 point lead for North Carolina. 2.5 minutes to go. Doherty, perimeter.
Talk about nice perimeter shooting today. You've got Doherty on the one side, you have Jordan on the other, and Black directing things, and it's a lot of poise out there by those 3 players.
And double trouble on the inside.
Oh, maybe triple trouble.
27-24, that's the North Carolina lead. Here's Dan Ruland again, shooting quickly. Up for the rebound, it's taken by Jackson, who's scoring.
Again, you have Perkins and Worthy made Ruland take that shot just a little bit quicker than he probably would like to, but good rebounding position underneath.
James Madison has looked North Carolina right in the eye. They've played them shot for shot and point for point almost. Perkins with a sweeping hook.
Turnaround hook shot that time by Perkins.
29-26. North Carolina's hit its stride, but still they're unable to shake these pesky Dukes from Harrisonburg, Virginia.
No, and it looks like the Dukes now are going to change their offense, but here they come back, Carolina with the trap.
Trapping zone, he threw it away. Pressure forces yet another James Madison turnover in a frantic first half here with the nation's top-ranked team. 29-26 North Carolina. That's the 8th turnover by James Madison, breaking a 7-7 tie. And Lou Campanelli now turns to talk to one of his assistants. Having a great year, of course, 24-5 so far.
Well, Carolina's made 9 out of their last 10 shots, and they're certainly playing very confidently offensively.
Worthy goes up over the arm. They're looking at Ruland. Let's see. There were 2 players in there. It is Ruland.
Whoops, that's number 3 now for Ruland. The interesting thing is that Carolina...
They just announced it was Towns. Towns with his 3rd foul.
That's a break.
Well, I don't know, Bill. He's the leading scorer, so they can't do without Ruland, but they also need Towns.
No, I
29,
that was
26.
only 2 for him.
3-point lead by only 2 fouls on Towns. Okay, we'll correct that. James Worthy, 2 shots. He was most valuable player in last week's Atlantic Coast Conference tournament, won by North Carolina over Virginia, what turned out to be a game that stirred up a lot of interest and controversy, where North Carolina went to a spread stall trying to force Ralph Sampson and Virginia out of a zone. They refused to come, and it came almost to a standstill in the second half. 10 points for James Worthy. He hits double figures with 1:15 to go in the first half. And there's North Carolina's biggest lead.
This will be interesting to see if they fire out. Here they come. Keep the pressure on.
They have little Derek Steele, number 25, in there. He's only 5'9", just a sophomore. Plays well under pressure. Super pass, and he's fouled by Jimmy Braddock. Second foul on Jimmy Braddock of North Carolina. And the bonus, Steele will go to the line for the 1-and-1. Good penetrator is what he's known for. That's exactly what he did. He split the defensive players. Anytime you can force a reach in, Bill, you're almost always going to foul. Perkins returns for North Carolina.
Well, it's interesting. James Madison was going to really sort of move that ball a lot, it seemed, and Carolina just went into that pressure defense again and showed a little bit different look out of that 2-3.
Front end here by Steele. Actually, Campanelli did not hear about Steele until he had committed to James Madison on a football scholarship. But he told the coach, he said, really, I'd prefer to play basketball. They worked that out in a hurry. And here he is, the number 3 guard. We have less than a minute to go in the first half from Charlotte, North Carolina. And Steele's 2 ends make it 31-28. North Carolina by 3.
You know, it's still a 3-point game, and Carolina's made 9 out of their last 10 shots. So it's amazing. James Madison is doing an excellent job here.
Jed Barlow now in the North Carolina up. There he is, Barlow, number 43. He was a walk-on, now a senior. 31-28 the score. North Carolina might try to just hold it down for 1 shot unless they get a real good one. 30 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, this perimeter player is a little different right now than they had before. Braddock's directing things out front.
Well, he's an excellent shooter, Bill, from the perimeter.
Yes, he is.
Buzz Peterson, who is a freshman. Dean Smith probably would prefer to have Jimmy Black and Michael Jordan in there for this situation, but he does not. And with 12 seconds to go, North Carolina's made its decision. They'll try for the last shot. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Under they go to Perkins, and he is charging. Charging by Perkins. Excellent defense by James Madison.
I'll tell you, they have done a very fine job. And again, I go back to those statistics of 9 out of the last 10 shots. They've had to really work for them, and that James Madison defense has been very, very tough in there.
Here's Darrell Jackson, who's drawn the stiff assignment from his coach, Lou Campanelli, to guard All-American James Worthy. He's had precious little time to think about offense, but he has a chance to help his team now at the line for the 1-and-1. Perkins clears it off. They've got 1 second to get off the shot. Worthy, 50 feet. Oh, my. How close for James Worthy from way away. So, it is the end of the first half, and CBS coverage for the 1982 NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this word from your local station.
I'm Brent Musburger. You should not be too surprised about the way North Carolina started the game slowly. They have been idle now for a week. That is the longest the Tar Heels have been off since the season began last November. Perhaps you're wondering about the James Madison point guard. Fisher, with that cast around his left hand, broke that wrist 6 weeks ago. You realize how tough that is for a point guard to operate with a broken wrist?
There may be many fans who've never heard of James Madison before this NCAA championship began, but they have certainly stood in there toe-to-toe with #1 ranked North Carolina throughout the first half. Bill, it was like 2 different quarters.
Well, it certainly was. The scoring for the first 11.5 minutes, only 10 points by Carolina, and then, of course, in the last 8.5, coming through with 21 points. And the defense was such a big thing in that second portion, too.
You can see how even they are, Bill. They're even on turnovers. North Carolina got just a slight edge and rebounding. Just tremendous shooting by both teams.
Well, when you get 61% by one team and 59 by another, you know you're not going to get much better, particularly in NCAA playoff time.
And how about the perimeter shooting? Look at those figures.
Well, our stats have JMU 6 for 7 from outside, and UNC 4 for 6 from outside. So very good shooting.
All right, leading the score of the ball game for James Madison. Charlie Fisher, who has not missed a shot. He's 4 for 4 for those 8 points. Linton Town 6. He's their leading scorer, but he has 3 fouls on him. James Worthy's the only player in double figures. 10 points thus far, playing to his All-America form. And his buddy inside Sam Perkins with 8. James Madison, though, still very much fired up here. They've only been a first Division I school for 6 years. Used to be a female school, Madison College. But Lou Campanelli's changed all that.
I'm just going to say that's an amazing coaching job that Lou has done there, and in a short period of time.
North Carolina start the second half. There's the pump by Jordan. Doherty on the inside takes it up, but there's a personal foul on the play, and I think they're looking at Darrell Jackson. Second foul.
Doherty just kept moving to get that inside position, and it paid off for him. Comes in, here's the shot by Jordan, and now you see coming from the side, Doherty in there with a very good effort on a first tip, and then gets fouled.
Bill, he reminds me of a guy named Jim Spinarkle who used to play for you. They're very similar.
Oh, my, I love him. What a player.
How about that one? How about that one to Perkins?
You can tell about that.
Gets the jump in the second half. And just equal their biggest lead, 5 points. And we're in the first 30 seconds of the second half. Man-for-man matchup on North Carolina. They'll put Fisher on Fisher and DuPont. A foul by Black. 3 fouls on Jimmy Black, a leader for North Carolina this year from this point guard spot. And he had a great first half, 3 for 3 and 3 assists.
Okay, here it comes, and
there it goes, right?
There it goes.
Well, Sam Camp's in there. It's suddenly goodbye. North Carolina really applying pressure now. Bill, I think they're more intensity so far here in the first minute than they were at the outset.
Well, it is, and this is going to be interesting here. The trapping defense paid off quite a bit for North Carolina in that second part of the first half.
Fisher now feeds down baseline to Towns, a deadly shooter. They had great patience and poise.
I'm just going to say poise. Towns certainly has a lot of it. He plays under complete control, and this type of game sort of is right down his alley.
Now here's a taste of their own medicine. James Madison comes right back with its own 1-3-1. They're not putting as much pressure, but they are trapping on the wings. Doherty takes one look inside. They really camp around Worthy and Perkins. There they are. And the triangle, and the dump is to Worthy, and a great job by Ruland.
All right, they're sort of doubling back there on that baseline.
You concentrate too much on them, and there the other side is Michael Jordan. Worthy has it taken away, but Jordan picks up the loose ball. North Carolina leading, but by only 3. 33-30, 2 minutes into the second half.
Well, Jordan drifted in there nicely to get another chance for Carolina here offensively. Here's a lob.
Yep, that's Perkins. Sam Perkins again, and that's going to be a maneuver that'll be a problem for Lou Campanelli's Dukes now. They've worked it twice. North Carolina back to its biggest lead, 5 points.
It looks like they spotted something at halftime.
And Perkins with a big, long reach. There he is, trying to save it. Bill, he wears that number 41 because that's his sleeve length, 41 inches.
That could be. Here's that lob pass again, and what a nice pass and a nice play, and that's the second time they've tried it in this half.
And the 41 inches coming in well. Campanelli, a big problem as he grimaces on that. Still another turnover by James Madison. They're suddenly and slowly now falling victim of North Carolina's pressure. 35-30. North Carolina, they trail much of the first half. They scored only 10 points in that first 11 minutes, but then came back strong in the last 8.5, scoring on 11 of 12 possessions. Perkins on a follow-away.
Good patience. They're taking the outside shot, but they're getting in fairly close. That was only about a 7 or 8 footer that Perkins took and scored on.
Perkins and Worthy not good for 22 of the 37 points, 37 to 30. Biggest lead so far by either team. James Madison led by 6 at one stage in the first half.
Well, Perkins hit his last 5 shots now, and here we have that same sort of pressure now, but a little bit more now from a man-to-man situation Carolina's putting on.
North Carolina overplaying, trying to cover the passing lanes and still avoid the back door. You saw Black almost get that one. Man-for-man matchup. North Carolina trying to keep pressure on the man James Madison, figuring they don't have a real strong bench. That was Bradley, who's back in the lineup quickly. Al Fisher has to clear it outside to Keith Bradley. Here's Towns, the big man. They've held him down so far to 8 points.
Want to keep that poise now.
Interception, just a bad lob right to Doherty. North Carolina will try to go up by 9. And it is Worthy hitting over to Doherty, driving for the back. Rebound ripped off by DuPont for James Madison. Boy, the Dukes never get flustered for long.
No, and they come off defensively there to make Doherty adjust that shot just a little bit.
This is the second of 2 great years. 4 stars back from last year. Open Bradley. Jimmy Black going for the steal and commits the foul. Number 4. The first man to get in serious fouling trouble is North Carolina's fine point guard, Jimmy Black.
Here it comes again, coming off and helping, and then going for the loose ball. That's Jimmy Black's style of play.
It was the second try by Black. The first time he got the clean swipe of the ball, jarring it loose. Jimmy Black is going to the sidelines. Then replaced by Jimmy Braddock.
The last couple of times down in Carolina's man-to-man, they're doing a lot more switching away from the basketball, Jim, and coming and overplaying, trying to keep the ball on one side of the floor again.
Derek Steele penetrating. Feeding to Ruland. What an assist. Credit that to Derek Steele on a superb pass inside.
And Ruland was just waiting for it.
37-32. 5-point lead by North Carolina. Tar Heels have had a rough afternoon. Jordan trying to penetrate. He's tripped and fouled by Keith Bradley. Second team foul this half by James Madison. Number 1 in the game on Bradley. A sophomore from Chesterfield, Virginia. He's come off the bench well during these first and second round playoff games. Lou Campanelli, who's team last year upset Georgetown from Elizabeth, New Jersey, was asked yesterday if he might take a better coaching job. He said he will always look at it. And his mother-in-law had a pizza house up in New Jersey. You might think about that.
Oh, he's done a super job.
Where are they trying the weak side lob, but not enough zip on it. Jimmy Braddock, he's a good outside shooter. Dukes coming out of the 2-3 zone, trying to put pressure on the outside, still trying to stay inside. Oh, what a touch pass. Took Perkins, who tips, and he's fouled the second time.
A great high-low move. Worthy down to Perkins, and the pass is up to the high post. High post. Worthy catches it midair, turns around. Very, very nice move.
That's a super block by Linton Towns, though, Bill.
He came off very well defensively. Not too many people get up there in that area with Perkins.
Sam Perkins, he had his biggest game of his career right here on this floor. That was last year against Rutgers. Lou Campanelli realizing now it's sudden death. 1 loss and you're out, and his team is down by 5 with 15 minutes to go. That's the 13th point by 6'9" Sam Perkins of North Carolina, who now finally are getting their touch, but their lead is only 6 over surprising James Madison, 38-32. That's when exactly what we're doing at CBS, not only on James Madison, but on college basketball across the country for this weekend and the next two on the march to New Orleans on the Final Four. And who will be the champion? That'll be an exciting moment, just as we've had exciting moments here. North Carolina having to fight hard against an inspired James Madison band of Dukes.
James Madison's only taken 2 shots in this second half in the first 5 minutes.
North Carolina defense being pressing now, zone backcourt, reach in by Perkins. 6'9", Sam Perkins reaching in on 5'9", Derek Steele committing the personal foul.
41, Sam Perkins, his second, and team's third.
Talk about keeping the ball low. Steele certainly does it.
That was below his range. Right?
Very low.
He was out of radar.
I'll tell you, it's tough to get down there low enough on a player like that, because you can see who's pressing up here from good size, and a guy like Jordan and Braddock.
That was a zone press. Wasn't a trap at midcourt, just a full zone press all over the court. Now they drop back into 1-3-1 with Braddock out on the point, having replaced Black, and Worthy chasing the baseline. They'll try to set screens even in this zone for Linton Towns. And here goes DuPont from the corner.
Nice shot. He's a very confident open shooter like that. He got a little bit of pressure, but he didn't take his eye off the basket. Has a good-looking shot from out there at 18 feet.
David DuPont, he's back in his home state, a native of Greensboro, North Carolina. 38-34, North Carolina by 4. Worthy spinning. Rebound is down to Derek Steele. The Dukes are running. Steele comes down on Braddock for the quick stop. And the rebound will go out to Braddock. North Carolina lets it rip. Boy, Steele really checked Braddock.
Well, it's a good open shot from about 10 feet, and it's a great shot when you make it.
Well, it's high percentage. Many coaches tell you now, Bill, forget the rebounding power. If it's the shot you want, don't wait.
That's right.
Perkins, left hand.
When you start thinking about it, why, that's when you have trouble shooting. And if you feel confident and it's your shot, you got to take it.
I know that Derek Steele at 5'9" has gotten the last 2 rebounds. He's the shortest player in this game, certainly, if not in the East Regional.
There's that switching on the weak side defensively by Carolina, man-to-man, and they're switching.
CBS coverage will continue throughout the day. We have 2 more games coming on our big triple header. North Carolina overplaying. James Madison for the back door. Ruland on the outside, right down to Perkins.
Worthy put a lot of pressure on that shot. He had to take that shot a little bit quicker than usual. And against Ohio State the other night, that was a big part of their offense, Ruland hitting from out there.
Steele went for the steal. Jordan, he can rip by an eyelash, and he's fouled on the play. Jordan has such a tremendously quick first step.
His second step isn't too shabby either, but he did. He made a heck of a move there, a quick first step to the left and around to get just a real good shot off. He's tough to
It was
play.
a 4th foul on Linton Towns. That's why Lou Campanella is wrestling with a decision right down the sidelines. His star scorer within 1 foul of banishment and over 12.5 minutes to go. Michael Jordan, 2 shots. Jordan is from Wilmington, North Carolina, and was heavily recruited last year, a blue chip player. Now James Madison once more for the 4th possession without a chance to pull within 2 points.
That won't happen too many times, Jordan missing free throws like that.
38-34, North Carolina.
There's that switch again outside.
Still pressure by North Carolina's defense. Steele showing good poise. Inside, Bradley's wide open. Perkins with a rebound. Perkins goes down, and he may have walked. He did. Three players went down. Both coaches are screaming it was against the other team, but it's officially a walk. Let's watch.
Steele's a little bit shook up on that. Here's the pass inside. Bradley on the turnaround. The intimidation in there. Perkins comes down now. Double teamed, and now he's called for a walk.
Let's see if Perkins gets him with the right elbow. I want to watch it from this angle. Watch Perkins' right arm.
He swings it around.
Right here.
He gets him pretty good.
Oh, boy.
He gets him pretty good. Steele feels that one.
38-34. 4-point lead by North Carolina. May have gotten away with one there. That wasn't called. 12 minutes to go in the game. Ruland. And it was not touched by Jordan. That's a turnover. Steele knew it the moment it whizzed by his nose.
Well, that's a key right there, and this is what James Madison wants to do, is get down there and get the good shot at this point, and they've got to get going now. 12 minutes to go, still a lot of time.
That was a pretty grim look from the North Carolina Brain Trust. This Madison now with 11 turnovers. 2 more than the Tar Heels. Michael Jordan, there's that first step again. He's called for walking. Jordan has such a long first step and so quick that he's often had that call go against him. I'm sure many times it's correct.
I'll tell you, it comes so quick that you're not sure whether it was a walk or not.
38-34. That score's been up now for a good time. North Carolina stuck on a 4-point lead with 11:50 to go. Here's an interception by Perkins. That's the 12th turnover by James Madison.
Big steal there by Perkins.
They're giving up the ball far too often now against the team of North Carolina's caliber. Still very much in the game. Doherty, 15-footer, hits, and he's fouled. That'll be on Derek Steele. The second one on him. And Matt Doherty, who had a reluctance to shoot early in the year, he was a little tentative. And he was openly criticized for it. He came out firing, and he's been a key outside scorer ever since for North Carolina.
Well, he's so very much a team player, and of course the Carolina team makes those extra passes, which are very important against any kind of defense, but particularly against zones.
No three-point play, but the basket gives North Carolina a 6-point lead, 40-34. Lou Campanelli exhorting his Dukes here to keep Cinderella's dream alive. They were very close to the 5-second call. Passing game being used by James Madison. They'll play very gingerly here. There's the back door to Towns, picked up by Perkins, tipped in by Ruland. Perkins had to leave Ruland. That left him all alone.
Very big play for James Madison. They needed a basket right there, and for their confidence and everything, and excellent positioning by Ruland.
40-36. Tar Heel lead is back to 4 over the Dukes. Braddock open. Perkins, nice one-hand rebound. Dean Smith just called another set. They go high-low with Perkins and Doherty. 3-second call. 3-second call, or is it a foul? It's a 3-second call, I believe, in North Carolina. Turn over to James Madison.
Looked like they were setting up Doherty inside on Towns because of Towns' foul trouble.
Well, Dean Smith just called 3, and Doherty, I guess, plays the number 3 position. All right, that's what they were setting up. 40-36. North Carolina by 4 with 10 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Almost midway in the second half. James Madison still very much in the thick of it. And here goes DuPont from the other corner. Oh, that would have been 2 in a row from the opposite corners. 40-36 North Carolina. The bench has been almost unused. Only Braddock here is not among the starting 5, and that's because Jimmy Black has 4 fouls. Michael Jordan banking.
Well, that defense was packed back there pretty far, and he has the open shot out there, and that's a key basket.
42-36. North Carolina trying to get off on a winning foot in the East Regional. Dan Ruland, great fake by the big guy. Ruland's 10th point, an all-CAC performer, and you see why.
Smart move, because the last time he took that shot, why, there was a hand up there in his face, and he had to readjust it. Made a good, smart fake, and got that defense off their feet.
Lead is back to only 4. 42-38, still 9 minutes to go. Doherty looking for a screen. They've really boxed around the big guys inside now, even though James Madison sticking to a man. Down low, Fisher cuts off the pass. but right behind him, his teammate Bradley had reached inside on Worthy, committing a second foul, and the 6th of the second half against James Madison. Only 3 on North Carolina. That could be a big factor as we come to 8 minutes and 54 seconds to go in this game. Dean Smith with his #1 rank. Tar Heels of North Carolina, and they're getting the test of their young tournament life here in 1982 by the Dukes of James Madison. And in this our leadoff game for the Saturday of a triple header, it's James Madison of Virginia, hanging tough with the nation's top team, North Carolina. 42-38, just 4 teams separating these 4 points separating these teams as we head into less than 9 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, Perkins, the game high in both points with 13 and also rebounds with 8 this afternoon.
James Madison, the newcomer, against North Carolina under the outstanding coaching of Dean Smith. 57-53, still the percentage shooting over 50%. That's outstanding in view of the fact that both teams have played terrific defensive ball, Bill Foster.
They have. They've changed defenses. They've pressured. Here comes the lob.
That's 3 on the lob to Perkins. 15 points for Sam.
And that one came from Jimmy Braddock.
He's getting requests. Play it again, Sam, with a 44-38 lead. 6 points. Rebound picked up by Jordan. Might have been partially blocked. North Carolina, this could be a critical stretch here for James Madison. This is Jordan stepping in there for the jump shot. Rebound down to Ruland. All right, James Madison, always alert. Counts baseline, ball batted away by Perkins. Perkins having an outstanding game for North Carolina. He and Worthy seems to exchange in that role, although sometimes. This will be Dean Smith's 16th consecutive postseason tournament. That's an amazing record.
He certainly had an amazing record, and the team right now too is continuing to put offensive pressure on. They're you know, they talk so much about the clock, but they're pushing it down the court quickly right now with 8 minutes to go.
Here's a zone now by North Carolina. They've changed defensive strategy about the first time we've seen a zone in this half.
Well, you know, you mentioned Dean Smith, and I've coached against him quite a few times, and they put a lot of pressure on you, a lot of changing pressure, and they really work at throwing you off stride and your timing off.
Weak side lob has come up by Doherty. There's a good look at things. Outside it is still. Right back to DuPont. Inside is blocked on the inside by Perkins. Intercepted by DuPont. And here goes Towns. Look out. Dead-eye Linton Towns with his 10th point. James Madison hanging in there. They're trailing by only 4 with 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
Well, the intimidation of Perkins, but the James Madison team certainly hangs tough in a big basket by Towns.
Let's see if North Carolina tries to pull James Madison out of the zone. Nope, they're going to attack. 4-point lead and 7 minutes exactly left. Jimmy Black is on the bench with 4 personal fouls for North Carolina, in case you just joined us. The Tar Heels have had a real struggle here against Cinderella James Madison, and a foul is going to be called on Dan Ruland. That's the 3rd one on him, and we'll go to the bonus now, the 1-and-1, and we'll see what a factor this turns out to be.
Well, another thing here is here comes Jimmy Black back in, but having a player like Jimmy Braddock out there with the poise and experience, and he's an outside threat also, is certainly a big help to any team, and he performed very well when he was in there.
1-and-1 to Sam Perkins, already with 15 points, the game's high figure so far. Bill, that Perkins had his all-time individual game high on this floor playing against Rutgers last year, and that's a familiar school for you, I'm sure.
Yes, and you know, another thing about Perkins, the intimidation factor, doesn't go in the box score. He and Worthy both underneath the basket are certainly threats in there. You can't go all the way against them because they're hanging in there someplace.
And the little alley-oop lob has been a nice addition today. He's had 3 of those. 46-40 North Carolina. James Madison very methodically working past the zone press. North Carolina drops back to a 1-3-1. Now this 1-3-1 is not coming out of the pressure of the ball. They're clogging up the middle. They'll make James Madison come from the outside. There goes Ruland forcing it in. Dan Ruland is taking charge now for his Duke teammates. 46-42. It's back to only 4.
And 6 for 10 from Ruland. He had good pressure on him defensively. And you notice, too, when Towns gets the ball, he gets good pressure. So they're playing certain people out there tight and dropping off other players.
North Carolina's, what, 10 games in a row? But they have yet to shake loose James Madison, leading by just 4 points with 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
I'll be very patient here. Jimmy Black is an excellent quarterback out there, and he's had so much experience. He's been in a lot of games like this.
It looks like they're trying to lull Campanelli's team right now. North Carolina very obviously has cut down the tempo of this game and the pace. And James Madison's going to stick in the zone. Let's see if they'll come out of the man for man. I think they got the patience not to do that yet. And there's a foul on DuPont. He suddenly lost his patience.
Well, it paid off for Carolina, their patience. They didn't go into any kind of a stall. They kept looking inside, but it didn't look like they really wanted to throw it in there that much unless it was absolutely open. And I think Carolina got a break there on that foul by DuPont.
Doherty, who is from East Meadow, New York, just a sophomore. This North Carolina team is really not a veteran team. Only Jimmy Black is a senior in the class. Everyone is aware of rumors that James Worthy, after this tournament's over, may take a look at a quick NBA career, but he's indicated no decision at all, or not much thinking about that at this moment. Now here's Doherty. Points for Doherty. In 16 years, Dean Smith has won 397 games and lost only 98. It's over 80%.
I'll tell you, he's won so many games, it's a habit for him.
47 and 42. You wouldn't mind having that habit, I know.
No.
Bill, you've had it too. I've seen your great Duke teams, and now it's South Carolina building. 47-42, 5-point lead. Steal by Black again. There is the ominous presence of Jimmy Black. Always alert. He leads his team in stealings. He's over 55 for the season right now.
Well, he overplayed, and there was a switch on the weak side, and they've been doing it for a while, and Black just came out and cut off that passing lane very, very nicely.
I think North Carolina is now going to force James Madison to come out a little bit. They're spreading gradually here on the court. James Madison still back in the zone. They're trying to protect Towns and Ruland, who have foul troubles. But time is slipping by. We're down now to 4.5 minutes to go.
The clock is a factor now, and North Carolina is not in a big hurry right now. Trying to get in there high-low again. You can see Perkins in the high post and Worthy going down low, sort of looking for that lob in there again.
Now, Bill, North Carolina's been criticized for this sort of thing. They say bring on the clock, but I think it's a pretty intelligent move.
Well, they're not in an outright stall right now. They haven't pulled it all the way out. They're probing. Looks like they're trying to get the high-low move here with Worthy in the high post or Perkins down to one or the other one low. And James Madison is defending it quite well. They're not allowing him to do it. Here it goes to the baseline.
Now, Worthy kicks it right back out. The decision may be up to Campanelli. Whether this will be stopped or not, with 3:40 remaining and running, Campanelli's got to decide. Should he come out or stay back? 1 more minute, he says, maybe. Nope, they're going to switch defenses right now. They're going to the man.
This is their #1 defense, which is probably man-to-man, and now they're in it.
47-42 North Carolina. 3:20 to go. Perkins hook. Rebound is by James Madison. Fisher's got it, but Dukes are still alive. They're down by only 5. Timeout. Why, frantic, a frenetic Lou Campanelli says, hold it right there. We've got only 3 minutes to go, and we're trailing the nation's #1 team by only 5. We'll be right back. Tar Heels up 47-42. The drama is building in Charlotte. The kingpin of college basketball, North Carolina, playing with the urging and the benefit of the home state fans. Nevertheless, being pushed to the wire by little James Madison. The almost unheard of Dukes until last year, and here they are taking on Goliath American doing a great job with still better than 3 minutes to go.
Well, everyone's heard of James Madison and the great job last year, and they certainly continued it on this year. And that last move by Perkins, North Carolina went inside, and he's having a great game, and it was a good move, I think. He took it to the basket.
There's the story. 3 minutes 10, 5-point lead North Carolina. We'll see what James Madison's strategy will be after that timeout, where we see them back on defense. I think that's why Campanelli wanted to talk. The passing game, double teaming on the out of the zone by North Carolina. Now less than 3 minutes to go. 5-point North Carolina lead. Fisher way outside. Hang on, folks. It's not over yet. 3-point lead by North Carolina with 2:40 remaining.
Well, that's 5 for 6 for Fisher, and he appeared very, very confident in taking that shot, and that's what's needed in a situation like that.
Now North Carolina is spreading its offense, and they go to the four-corner spread here, for which they've become very famous in the last few years. And James Madison will be forced to chase now with just over 2 minutes to go. 2:15. 3-point lead, North Carolina. They want to foul somebody. They're going to try to foul Worthy. There it is. That was signaled from the bench. Campanelli says, get Worthy and take him to the free throw line. Well, you put a great competitor like Worthy on the line, you can't always be sure.
Well, your choice isn't real good on this team. They do shoot free throws well. They're, of course, tournament tested. They're experienced, and they've been in this situation a lot before.
Foul was on Bradley. That's only his third. Worthy on the 1-and-1. Very important here on the front end with a 3-point lead. It worked. James Madison picked out Worthy, and they get the ball down by 3 with 2 minutes to go.
He had just a little hitch in that free throw at the end, it looked like. He didn't get it up there as freely as usual.
Quiet. Cannot believe the poise James Madison has shown here against North Carolina. Unbelievable. Here they are with a minute 43 and a chance perhaps still to win the game. Bradley on the inside lays it in. 1-point lead, 47-46. Still no sign for a timeout from the North Carolina bench with a minute and a half to go.
And they went right inside, too. They took it to him right inside, and a big basket. Everyone's big right now.
Middle Tennessee may have to move over Bill Foster, because this will be the one that will block college basketball. Come on out, says Campanelli. Put pressure on the four corners. They'll try perhaps to keep the ball away from Worthy.
Well, you talk about noise and excitement and pressure. Right here it is. This is what it's all about right here.
Jordan might be the other man to foul. Backdoor, Worthy, layup, and a foul. Foul by Ruland, who's out of 4 with 4. And Worthy, with the quick backdoor move, redeems himself from the line miss.
Well, Ruland comes off very nicely, and Worthy stops as quick as he can, gets out of the way, still concentrates on the basket, and an extremely fine play there. Not only the pass, but Worthy staying away from getting that charge that Ruland was trying to draw back there.
Bill, it's as great an exhibition of poise under pressure as you'd ever want to see by both teams. North Carolina has to be a little shocked and stunned by this band of Dukes that came out of Harrisonburg, Virginia 2 years ago, or last year. Everybody said, James who? And even old fans in Virginia said, hey, that's old Madison College. That's not James Madison. But here they are, toe-to-toe with the #1 team.
Well, they showed great defensive rotation that last time, and they showed an awful lot of poise in this game. And I think everyone knows about James Madison at this point. They played such good basketball. And imagine last year with beating Georgetown. I mean, what a great victory to start out the NCAA. Gave Notre Dame a heck of a game, as we mentioned. And we're very impressive here on Thursday night against Ohio State.
Campanelli can stop the game only 2 more times in regulation, but just 57 seconds remain. So the moment of truth is at the front door for James Madison, the pride of the Shenandoah Valley. And they could go home. You know, Harrisonburg, where James Madison is located, is the hometown of Ralph Sampson. So they've been accustomed to basketball frenzy up there now for many years. And here they're taking on one of the
5 timeouts left, too. He's always been a master at using his timeouts and saving them, using those TV timeouts. And look at this right now. He's got 5 remaining, if he needs them.
Well, it's been a great year in North Carolina. The basketball team ranked #1. The football team won a bowl victory. They got a guy named C.M. Mock wrestling for an NCAA Championship today out in Iowa City. But everything at James Madison is focused on basketball. 3-point try. 4-point lead with 57 seconds to go. 50-46. Every possession crucial. In goes Fisher. And there is a follow-through, but it will not count. There's a charging foul on Fisher. He charged right into Worthy. And again, it's All-American Worthy making the big play.
Well, an interesting move defensively there by Coach Smith. Instead of dropping back in a defense, a layback defense, there it is.
It wasn't a charge. It was not a charge, Bill. It was the left hand. Okay, we'll get another break. 52 seconds left. And it's a long way from being decided in Charlotte. Well, it's nothing new really for James Madison. It may be to you, but not to the Dukes. They've got 2 more timeouts remaining. That one was by North Carolina. Lou Campanelli's team have been well drilled in all parts. Ooh, that was a message for one of the officials. But Campanelli's well-drilled team defensively has held teams to 50 points or less in 15 of its 29 games. And North Carolina right now has 50. 50 seconds to go. Pressure defense by James Madison. North Carolina spreading here, trying to hang on and hold off this determined bid by the Dukes. 37 seconds counting. 50-46 North Carolina. There's the foul on Worthy. They're going to put Worthy back on the line again.
Well, they waited to get Worthy. It used up some seconds in there.
No ball. It's 2 shots.
Now there's a protest from Campanelli. He says the guy was going for the ball. I don't know, Bill. Campanelli may have a point. That didn't look that deliberate to us, but then the officials much closer.
Well, they were right next to it. The officials were right on it. And that's having 3 officials. That's what they're supposed to do.
Well, Campanelli's asking for a technical, and he needs that like a proverbial hole in his head. Bonus shot forward. No, he's going to get 2. Gets 2 anyway. What a record. Over 1,100 points, 600 rebounds, 200 assists. This guy has done everything for North Carolina.
Here's a press again.
52-36. We're down to 30 seconds for James Madison. Midnight's approaching. And there's a personal foul on Doherty. It might have been a fortunate foul because Ruland had an open layup.
No ball. 2.
I'm not sure. That was a very close call. 52-46.
The only thing is, Carolina would want to keep the clock going now.
All right, here's Charlie Bradley, or Fisher, at the line. We'll take another look at this. Campanelli is really steaming. Let's watch Fisher's free throw. He's had more injuries than some of our Vietnam veterans. We'll get to. Here's another look. Now, this was the fast break. Right there, the reach in.
It almost looks intentional, but again, you'd think Carolina would want to keep the clock going at this point and not stop it because the clock is such a big factor right now.
27 seconds remaining. 52-48. James Madison still got a very good chance in this game. They're down by just 2 baskets. 27 seconds on the clock. The long lob to Doherty. That's a gamble, and it worked. No, Doherty out of bounds. A turnover. And James Madison is going to benefit here. Campanelli wants the ball at the other end, but Doherty was inbounds. It's the proper call.
It was the importance of having Doherty catch that ball and at least step out of bounds because it had to come the length of the court now.
Still over 20 seconds to go. James Madison has time. And here's the outside shot by DuPont. Rebound taken down by Perkins, who's fouled on the play by Fisher. Oh boy, frustration personified coming from Campanelli. So close his team has been, and they're still in there with 16 seconds remaining. I wonder if you'd asked Campanelli last December, hey, Lou, your team's the NCAA against the #1 team in the country. 16 seconds to go, and you're only down by 4 points. You like that? What would he have said?
I don't know, but you know, maybe you're crazy, but they've made such a great showing here Thursday night and again this afternoon, and the game is still not over.
North Carolina's had a fine performance, Bill.
They certainly have, and we talked about that first half. 9 out of the last 10 shots they took in the first half they made.
Sam Perkins, the leading scorer of the ball game, with 17 points. Could be a big miss. And there's a personal foul. That's unworthy. Stepping in. Second one unworthy. Dean Smith wants to talk things over. His team is in a critical spot here, being #1 in the country with just 15 seconds to go. And a 4-point lead. And that could be changed without a second going off the clock. It'll be a 1-and-1 coming when we resume play for James Madison. They make those, you're down to 2, Bill, and then suddenly 15 seconds looks like a long time.
Well, complexion certainly changed right there, and it changed very quickly. A big thing.
Following this game, CBS continues coverage of the second round of the NCAA Championship with Middle Tennessee. They'll be facing Louisville. Remember, Middle Tennessee knocked off Kentucky. So those of you in North Carolina and in the Memphis area, remember, we'll be seeing Wake Forest versus Memphis State. It'll be a full afternoon. That'll be the middle game, and one more to go. Georgetown Hoyas coming later on our triple header. I want to thank those responsible for our telecast today. Executive producer Kevin O'Malley. Produced by Jim Silliman. Directed by Larry Cavallina. Our associate producer is Brian Sykes. And many, many more who have brought you the drama, excitement, and thrills of this surprisingly close game between #1 ranked North Carolina and little James Madison University of Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Well, I guess what makes this game so interesting and so crazy at the same time, Jim, is how the complexion can change in 1 second. With 16 seconds to go, and James Worthy on the line shooting 1-and-1, and then the miss, and you know, it just changed that complexion pretty quickly.
All right, here comes James Madison away from Lou Campanelli. Campanelli shed his coat very early on in the afternoon. And he's done a great job orchestrating his team through this game against top-ranked North Carolina. 52-48. Well, we know 1-and-1. That was only the 5th team foul against North Carolina. Gives them a big advantage. So we have to stand corrected. We're down to 10 seconds. They have to hurry up. Turnover that could cost them the game. Right off Charlie Bradley. Keith Bradley cannot handle it, and now North Carolina wants to huddle up again. So, suddenly, light swings toward the North Carolina Tar Heels. Only 8 seconds to go, up by 4. Correct, there are 8 seconds remaining. 4-point lead North Carolina. James Madison just victimized by a damaging and perhaps fatal turnover. The 50th in the game for the Dukes. North Carolina huddling up to their master second strategy, and this place will explode if they actually it's the home team, you must say, because North Carolina playing here in its home state at the Charlotte Coliseum. What a marvelous job Lou Campanelli did preparing his game plan, actually preparing his team over the last 2 years for such a situation.
And they're going to try now this time with only 8 seconds left. Here we go. We're going to try and eat the clock out.
There's Jimmy Black drawing the foul from Steele. Down to 5 seconds. So now Campanelli definitely is running out of the sands of time here with 5 seconds to go. His team trailing by 4. And it may be too late already, but if Black makes anything here, it would appear it's all over.
Well, you know, UNC this half has only hit 7 for 14 from the foul line.
Well, Black has hit 24 of his last 27.
Well, that's something. I'll tell you, that's the guy they want to have on the line. And, of course, the clock is ticking with 5 seconds. There's not much time left here. But, again...
You'll hear from this guy again, won't you?
Oh, definitely. Very, very definitely.
He has Jackson back. He has back DuPont. Jimmy Black got 2, gets 2. It's an intentional foul. 52-48. James Madison still has 2 times out remaining. And they still got a chance. They have to score in a hurry. And there it is to Towns with 1 second. He hits, but it's all over. So close for James Madison. And yet so far, hanging in it to the final end. But now it's all over, and North Carolina has escaped with the proverbial lives here after a tremendous and exciting challenge from James Madison. Dean Smith mopping his brow, happy to be away from this one, Bill. I'm sure Dean's happy this one's over.
Well, I'm sure too. This game couldn't be any more exciting. We saw all sorts of different defenses. We saw a lot of pressure defenses. We saw some very fine offense. Perkins probably would have to be the most valuable player in this ball game, not only because of his scoring, his shooting, but his defensive work underneath and all his intimidation, and also for the number of rebounds that he had. But James Madison just has certainly a team that has been hanging tough this whole afternoon. And I'll tell you, a very well coached game by both coaches. And when you come against North Carolina, you can expect to see a lot of things. And they showed a lot of things this afternoon, too.
Well, the bottom line of this game, Bill, has to be that the nation's #1 seeded team, North Carolina, is still alive. They have the bye. This is their first game. They move on now to the East Region and Raleigh, North Carolina next week. And they'll play either Alabama or St. John's. But there's another story in this game, and that's James Madison, University of Harrisonburg, Virginia. They did not wilt in the fierce pressure put on them by North Carolina, and they stayed there till the final second.
Well, you talk about poise. You're exactly right. We saw a lot of poise out there this afternoon by that James Madison team.
That's it. This is Jim Thacker with Bill Foster. There's the final score, 52-50. More coming up here on CBS.
Welcome back to the news desk in New York, and a very good morning to everybody along the Pacific Network, which has just joined us. We have our first final of the day in the NCAA basketball tournament. North Carolina has advanced to the round of 16, but they had a great deal of difficulty before finally subduing James Madison by only 2 points, 52-50. Dean Smith, of course, trying to win his first national championship. But right now, Jim Thacker is standing by with the winning Tar Heels, and let's go back to him in Charlotte, North Carolina. Jim?
All right, Brett, I'm sure we can say it's a very happy Dean Smith, and we probably can add it's a relieved Dean Smith right now.
Well, you know, James Madison beat Ohio State very easily, I thought. And we thought of it, I guessed a 55-50 game, and I hope we were going to have the 55. So we're very happy to have won. I thought we played very well. We didn't shoot our foul shots real well, but we played very well. Very well defensively.
We had a fine stretch, Dean, you say about the second quarter of the game.
I thought we got our break in gear. Our defense forced some turnovers, and I thought we played very well the second half. James Madison's a good basketball team, and unfortunately they haven't gotten the notoriety they deserve.
You gave me brisk pressure, and they stood right in there.
They sure did. And of course, we had the game won, and then, you know, Doherty was going after the ball. We said to go after the ball, and it can't be an intentional foul, but these officials are different nowadays, I guess.
Those are one of the things you have to adjust to. Jimmy Black in foul trouble. How much does that concern you?
Well, very much. Jimmy's our leader. He's a great, great player. And we thought we'd won him if we needed to go to the delay game. You know, the delay game is such that the defense by rule has to come out and chase and when we have the lead. And I thought we did that very well. Black's pass to Worthy backdoor I thought was tremendous.
Great play. Dean, Alabama, St. John's, 2 distinctly different type teams. What's your thoughts now as you look to your next game?
I really haven't looked ahead. I think Alabama's a very talented team. I know St. John's, but coached by Larry Carnesecca is a great one. So we're happy to just be going to Raleigh. You know, the last couple of years, the #1 ranked team hadn't even won the first round. So we're happy to have won one.
Well, I know your last trip to East, Dean, you were upset. Congratulations here for you.
Thank you.
North Carolina, #1 ranked player in the country, #1 team. They escaped here, though, with their lives today. Tremendous challenge for James Madison. The Tar Heels won it by 2. In a moment, we'll meet 2 of them. Back at the the Charlotte Coliseum, North Carolina's just gotten away with a 2-point victory over James Madison. Sam Perkins, you were just outstanding today. Well, that was a tough team you were playing.
Yeah, James Madison, we expect them to give us trouble today. They're a very good ball team. They not heard of much, but they are a good team.
Sam, did you go in the game planning the lobs?
Well, that's a part of our offense. We put the lobs in mainly for teams like James Madison. They didn't have too much height to deal with us, but lobs were just there, and they worked successfully. All
right, Sam, I want to talk to your running mate, James Worthy. You guys complement each other so well on the inside. You're always aware of what the other one's doing.
Yes, that's due to practicing together, and we discuss it a lot, so we just try to carry it over into the game.
James, they picked out you for the fouling. That bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I love to go to the free throw line. I think I shoot pretty good. It's just that I think my routine is the same every time, and my rhythm is there, but sometimes it falls and sometimes it doesn't.
Thank you very much, man. James Worthy and Sam Perkins. And now back to Brent Musburger.
Jim, thank you so much. So again, for those folks who have just joined us now on the Pacific Network, North Carolina advances over James Madison 52-50. And to get you up to date, why don't we show you some highlights from that game? You saw the difference. The big men underneath for the Tar Heels. They controlled the baseline of the game for Dean Smith. But James Madison came out hustling. And watch David DuPont now, who'll hit the jump shot after they came away with it right there in the scramble with the Tar Heels. And the North Carolina fans who arrived in droves because their Tar Heels have won 10 in a row at Charlotte, they gave this team all the support they could. Sam Perkins winding up with 17 points and 11 rebounds. But still, Madison would not quit. Keith Bradley goes inside. It cut the lead to 1 with only 1 minute and 37 seconds to go. And Lou Campanelli urging the Dukes on, but finally it was that inside muscle, James Worthy, and now North Carolina advances. They will play the winner of the Alabama-St. John's game, and of course they will meet tomorrow in Uniondale.